Hello guys and welcome. In this video we are looking at how to simplify surds. Now surds are roots that cannot be written as whole numbers or as fractions. For example, the square root of 8 and the square root of 50 are surds. We know that the square root of 4 is 2, the square root of 25 is 5, the square root of 81 is a whole number, 9. Now, the square root of 8 is not a whole number. From the calculator, the square root of 8 is like, and it goes on. The square root of 8 is a decimal. This decimal cannot be expressed as a simple fraction. We can, however, simplify surds by making the number under the square root sign as small as possible. So we don't want to approximate, but to keep the value of root 8. Now let's see how we can simplify the square root of 8. Now to simplify the square root of 8, we need to break down 8 into 2 of its factors. One of these factors has to be a perfect square. A perfect square is a number whose square root is a whole number. Examples of square numbers are 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 81, and 100. The square root of 8 can be written as the square root of 4 times 2. 4 is a perfect square. Now we can split this into the square root of 4 times the square root of 2. We know that the square root of 4 is 2. 2 is not a perfect square, so we are not going to simplify it further. So we can write 2 times square root of 2. That means the square root of 8 is equal to 2 times the square root of 2, or 2 root 2 in short. Next, the square root of 27. The square root of 27 is equal to the square root of 9 times 3. So we can split this into root 9 times root 3. We know that the square root of 9 is 3. 3 is not a perfect square, so it remains under the square root sign. So this 3 remains under the square root sign. That means the square root of 27 can be simplified to 3 times the square root of 3. That is 3 root 3. Let's simplify the square root of 50. We need to break down 50 into 2 of its factors. One of the factors has to be a perfect square. We know that 25 times 2 can give us a 50. So we have the square root of 50 is equal to the square root of 25 times 2. The square root of 25 is 5. So let's take 5 outside the square root sign. 2 remains under and inside the square root sign. 2 is not a perfect square, so it remains under the square root sign. That means the square root of 50 is equal to 5 times root 2. That is 5 root 2. The square root of 50 is 5 root 2. Now, the square root of 300 is equal to the square root of 100 times 3. The square root of 100 is 10. This will go outside. Inside the square root sign remains 3. The square root of 3 is not a whole number. 3 remains under the square root sign. So the square root of 300 is equal to 10 times root 3. That is 10 root 3. Let's look at 98. 98 has a number of factors, so we pick the perfect square factor, 49. So we have the square root of 98 is equal to the square root of 49 times 2. The square root of 49 is 7 times root 2. Since we cannot simplify root 2 further, it means the square root of 98 is 7 root 2. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and hit the notification button for more videos.